Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Fantasy. My skills can be upgraded infinitely. Chapter 6. Zon level silver statue skill. The man's face suddenly darkened, his blood began to surge, and he continued to take a step closer to Zhang Heng. Junior brother, it seems that you don't know what to do. Most of the other outer disciples passing by not far away chose to ignore it and left in a hurry, while a few watched from a distance. Zhang Heng put the porcelain bottle into his waist pocket and laughed easily. Just in time, I also want to see the strength of the seniors from the outer sect. Zhang Heng's body's energy and blood surged crazily, and his body was enveloped in dragon-like arrogance. This kind of fluctuation is definitely caused by cultivation levels above the third level. How is that possible? He has only been in the outer sect for less than a month. The three of them were all shocked, but Zhang Heng ignored their reactions and instead took the initiative to attack. Bring it on. Zhang Heng's figure was like a swift wind, rushing straight towards the leader. Clench a fist with your right hand, and the energy of blood and qi can't help but surge around it, wrapping it around your fist. The perfect state of rock-breaking fist. 3 times the explosive power increase. How brave. So what? I am at the 5th level of cultivation. The man saw Zhang Heng taking the initiative to attack, and immediately became angry, and also rushed out violently. Fist fight. The man's expression suddenly changed. He only felt as if his right fist had been hit by a meteorite falling from the sky, and the violent force poured into his entire body along his arm. His internal organs, and even every inch of flesh and blood, were wailing in pain under this punch. This is, at least, a Dacheng-level rock-shattering fist. Such thoughts flashed through his mind subconsciously. The next moment, with a muffled sound, invisible air waves spread crazily around. Ah! The man screamed and flew backwards. Senior brother Zhang. The other 2 people couldn't help but exclaimed, looking at the figure flying out in disbelief. Ding! Win the battle and get 100 potential points. Zhang Heng glanced at the system prompt and walked towards one of them with a grin. Come on. Ask your seniors for advice. The man came to his senses and waved his hands quickly. This junior brother, no, senior brother, his cultivation is shallow and he doesn't dare to teach. Let's leave now. Just kidding. Senior brother Zhang, who was stronger than him, was instantly killed, so he could still get some good results. The man stepped back step by step, with a flattering smile on his face. Oh, your cultivation is shallow. Don't you dare to give me advice. Zhang Heng didn't stop at all and continued to smile. You look like you are 40 or 50 years old, but in front of me, a 16-year-old boy, you actually think that your cultivation is shallow. Then, as a fellow senior, I have to give you some advice. In fact, these people looked to be in their 20s, but Zhang Heng said this deliberately. None of the 3 people dared to refute, and could only look at Zhang Heng tremblingly. Bring it on. Zhang Heng shouted loudly again. His body turned into a strong wind, but his momentum was like a wild tyrannosaurus. Punch out with one punch. This man also screamed and flew backwards. The last person's lips trembled uncontrollably, and he turned around to escape, but Zhang Heng easily caught up with him and knocked him down with the same punch. After throwing the 3 people together, Zhang Heng squatted down and said with a playful smile. Junior brothers, my cultivation is about to break through to the 4th level, but I am suffering from insufficient elixirs, so I take the liberty of asking you to lend me some qi and blood elixirs. How? The 3 of them breathed for a moment, looked at each other, and then replied dejectedly. Senior brother, it's okay to speak. The 3 of them took out a small porcelain bottle from their arms. After Zhang Heng took it, he turned around and left. One of them gritted his teeth and said, I will not avenge this, and I will not do anything to others. The young man headed by him slapped him on the back of the head and said hatefully. You are stupid. This kid is only 15 years old. He has such a strong cultivation level in such a short time. Can we offend such a genius? It's just a few qi and blood pills. It's unlucky for us to kick such an iron plate. No one is allowed to mention this matter again. The other 2 people nodded quickly. Ellipsis. On the other side, Zhang Heng returned to his small courtyard. Took out a small porcelain bottle, opened it and looked at it. There are 3 red pills inside, and a faint fragrance naturally emanates from them. This is the legendary qi and blood pill, a concentrated essence that is said to be equivalent to a whole cow. Zhang Heng took out one, looked at it for a moment, and then swallowed it in one gulp. The elixir enters the mouth and falls into the stomach along the throat. The next moment, the elixir began to be slowly digested, and a huge heat flow spread to all parts of the body. Zhang Heng immediately began to practice the yuanxi creation kung fu. The stomach began to wriggle rapidly, and the elixir immediately began to be digested at a faster pace, and an even greater flow of heat flowed to all parts of the body like a river. Ding. During practice, your potential points increase by 5 points. Ding. During practice, your potential points increase by 5 points. Ellipsis. I don't know how long it took. When Zhang Heng clearly felt that the elixir had been completely digested, he stopped practicing. He looked at his personal panel. Potential points. 10,600. Equivalent to 1 qi and blood pill, which adds 10,000 potential points. Too strong. Zhang Heng's face was full of excitement. He swallowed another qi and blood pill and started practicing crazily. It takes about an hour to digest a qi and blood pill, even with the practice of yuanxi creation kung fu. Zhang Heng worked without sleep for 12 consecutive hours, and finally digested the 12 qi and blood pills completely. At this time, his potential points reached an unprecedented 120,000 points. Zhang Heng first tried to upgrade the original creation skill to the heaven level, but found that the potential points were still insufficient. He chose to use his potential points to improve his cultivation. Ding. Spend 40,000 potential points and upgrade your cultivation level to the 5th level. Ding. Spend 50,000 potential points and raise your cultivation level to the 6th level. The majestic power of qi and blood surged in the body, and the dragon-like arrogance enveloped Zhang Heng's body, rising crazily. His cultivation has been upgraded 2 levels in a row. Upgrade, Silver Elephant Skill. Ding. Spend 10,000 potential points, and Silver Statue Skill, Zon level, will be upgraded to the 2nd level. Huge heat surged crazily inside Zhang Heng's body, creating a magical chemical reaction with every inch of his flesh and blood. He could clearly feel that his body was becoming stronger and stronger at an extremely obvious speed, like a high-strength alloy. This kind of solidity is a qualitative change in every inch of the body from the inside to the outside, and it does not affect its flexibility at all. It takes 10,000 potential points to go from yellow level to level 1. Does it also cost 10,000 points from level 1 to level 2? Zhang Heng pondered for a moment. Then he took out his long sword, and the energy and blood in his body surged crazily. This was an all-out attack that he mobilized all his energy and blood. Boom. There is no pain or itching in the arm. The long sword suddenly broke apart inch by inch, and the broken blade fell to the ground. Zhang Heng gritted his teeth and used another perfect level of rock-breaking fist, which crashed onto his left arm. Boom. There was another muffled sound. Left arm still has no pain or itching. Too strong. Zhang Heng couldn't help but secretly clicked his tongue. Chapter 7. 3 Mysterious Level Skills. The cultivation of the 6th level of the physical realm, the perfect level, the rock-breaking fist with 3 times the explosive power, does not even cause a trace of damage. I wonder if I can withstand the attack from the peak of the physical realm. Zhang Hengxia thought for a moment, then came back to his senses and looked at the 20,000 potential points he had left. Upgrade, Rock-Breaking Fist. Ding. 10,000 potential points have been consumed. The exercise is being deduced. Please wait. Ding. The deduction is complete. Please name the new technique. Zhang Heng thought for a while and said, Broken Mountain Fist. Congratulations to the host. You have learned Broken Mountain Fist, Zon level, entry level. With the information coming into his mind, Zhang Heng also learned a lot about the Zon level, Breaking Mountain Fist. Compared to the triple increase in explosive power of the rock-breaking fist, the Zon level mountain-breaking fist is not much improved, it just increases the multiplier to 5 times. Of course, this refers to the level of perfection. At present, Broken Mountain Fist is only at the entry level, but it does not significantly improve Zhang Heng's strength. Zhang Heng gave it a try. It is roughly equivalent to increasing the explosive power from 3 times to about 3.2 times. The remaining 10,000 potential points just happened to upgrade Wind Step to the entry-level Zon level. The speed of the movement was once again increased, and the name was not changed. At this point, Zhang Heng's potential points have almost been exhausted. The qi and blood pill is much more effective than regular practice. I have to find a way to get some qi and blood pills. Zhang Heng began to think carefully. It is easy to go from frugality to luxury, but it is difficult to go from luxury to frugality. After seeing the magical effect of the qi and blood pill, Zhang Heng has become a little disdainful of slowly practicing it with ordinary methods. He remembered that the Outer Sect Disciples' Handbook contained an introduction to the sect's contribution system. The contribution can be exchanged for qi and blood pills. He immediately returned to the room, turned out the Outer Disciple Manual, and read it carefully. That's when he noticed. Outer disciples are not always able to enjoy the benefits of the sect, but only for the first 3 years. After entering the Outer Sect for 3 years, only the top 50 Outer Sect disciples will be eligible to continue to enjoy the benefits of the sect. This involves another sect system, the sect competition. The sect competition for Outer disciples is held once a year. The top 50 ranked ones all have a resource supply that far exceeds that of ordinary Outer disciples. Even after the 3-year limit, the benefits can continue. The 50 outside disciples will follow the normal welfare system. That is, within 3 years, you will continue to enjoy 3 qi and blood pills per month for free. For more than 3 years, it can only be redeemed through contribution points. Even if you want to continue to stay at the outer door, you need to consume a certain amount of contribution points every month. If you don't contribute enough, you will be demoted to a handyman. Think about it too. The sect has spent so much money and has provided free support for 3 years. It has not shown enough value. It is really time to make some contributions. For outer disciples within 3 years, the level of contribution is not required. If you want to practice quietly in peace, you can, the sect will support you. If you want to actively earn contribution points and exchange them for more various resources, you can do that. The way to earn contribution points is to accept various tasks in the task hall. At the same time, Zhang Heng also found another way to earn contribution points in the Outer Disciple Manual. That is, a duel in the ring. In order to encourage the disciples to fight, the sect set up a duel arena in the outer courtyard. As long as you maintain your identity as the challenger, even if no one challenges you, you can get 10 contribution points every day. In order to maintain the competitive vitality of the duel arena, the top 50 disciples in the sect competition are not allowed to participate in the competition. The duel arena is basically a source of contribution points prepared for geniuses who suddenly rise but do not have time to participate in the sect competition. After learning about the contribution point system, Zhang Heng immediately went out, first going to the trading hall where contribution points were exchanged. Looked at the prices of some items. Qi and blood pill, 10 contribution points. Weapon, treasure level, 1000 contribution points. 12 taels of silver, 1 contribution point. Ellipsis. According to the comparison of prices in Zhang Heng's previous life, 1 tael of silver in this life is roughly equivalent to 1000 yuan. In this conversion, 1 contribution point is equivalent to 10,000 yuan in purchasing power. Such a qi and blood pill is equivalent to almost 100,000 yuan. In other words, I ate 1.2 million in 1 day and 1 night. This is a huge amount of wealth that I could not save in my previous life. Zhang Heng couldn't help but sigh. After roughly understanding the purchasing power of contribution points, we went to the mission hall. The mission hall is a large independent courtyard, where outer disciples are constantly coming in and out in a hurry. Zhang Heng followed the crowd into the hall. On one wall, there are rows and rows of large characters, divided into 3 columns, explaining the overview of the mission and mission rewards. Collect fresh corpses of ferocious beasts, exchange them for 1 contribution point for every 10 kilograms, no time limit, no limit on quantity. Collect all kinds of spiritual herbs and elixirs, and price them according to their quality. There is no limit on time or quantity. Except for the top 2 long-term tasks with an unlimited number of tasks, most of the other tasks require a lot of time. For example, chasing and killing Kai Jincheng, the sect trader at the 8th level of the physical realm, will reward you with 50 contribution points. Standing in the Zichou mountain mine for 1 year, you will be rewarded with 100 contribution points. Requirements. Cultivation to the 5th level of the physical realm or above. Number of people required. 7 people. While Zhang Heng was watching, some tasks were taken over and removed from the wall. Zhang Heng noticed that the wall itself seemed to be similar to a mesh. The words, mission, are square wooden stakes embedded one by one from the back of the wall, so that the words are displayed in rows in front of everyone. When it is removed, it is also withdrawn from the back of the wall. This is somewhat like the principle of movable type printing. Zhang Heng looked at it curiously for a while and then began to think carefully. With normal practice, you can gain about 5,000 potential points a day. When using qi and blood pills, one can increase potential points by 10,000. So, no matter what task you do, you must earn at least one qi and blood pill contribution point every 2 days, otherwise it is not worthwhile. So, tasks that earn an average of more than 5 contribution points per day are what he needs to consider. It seems that missions in the physical realm are not very cost-effective. Zhang Heng frowned, turned and left. Chapter 8. What a powerful physique. In the other direction of the outer branch is the duel arena. On the vast field, around the circular arena with a radius of 100 meters, many outer disciples wearing green clothes were watching the duel, and the sounds of cheers could not be heard. Zhang Heng came from a distance and asked about the specific situation of the duel in the ring at a table not far from the ring. Every outer disciple can challenge, but if he fails, he can only challenge again the next day. If you win 10 games in a row, you can become the second-level champion. Only the second challenger is qualified to challenge the challenger. After winning the challenge, he can take his place and become the new challenger, earning 10 contribution points every day. The deacon in blue behind the table raised his eyes and glanced at Zhang Heng, and said casually. Zhang Heng nodded thoughtfully. This is right. If there is no threshold to challenge the challenger, I am afraid that the challenger will be exhausted every day, so how can he have time to practice? He handed over his identity card and said calmly. I want to challenge. The deacon in blue behind the table raised his eyes and glanced at Zhang Heng, and said casually. You are not allowed to deliberately kill your fellow disciples in the arena, but death from injury or maiming is not ruled out. Remember to prepare your weapons. Clear. Ellipsis. Zhang Heng waited patiently. 10 minutes later. Next, outer disciple Zhang Heng. Please come on stage. With a loud shout, Zhang Heng immediately performed the wind step, and his body almost turned into the breeze, floating down to the high ring. On the other side of the ring, a handsome young man stood with his hands behind his back. The long sword in his hand was cold, and blood dripped from the tip of the sword. This is the blood of the previous loser. Junior brother Zhang, now that you are on the ring, your life or death is at stake, are you ready? The young man's mouth widened, and his smile was a little cold. Zhang Heng glanced at the other party and chuckled. This junior brother, you are quite old, and you still use small tricks of psychological oppression on me when you go into the ring, which just shows your guilty conscience. He clenched his fist, stirring up all the energy and blood in his body. Dragon-like arrogance enveloped his whole body, making him look powerful and domineering. Come on, let's fight directly. Zhang Heng smiled ferociously and rushed forward suddenly. The smile of the young man holding the sword faltered, and then darkened. There are not a few geniuses in this world. So, although Zhang Heng looks like a teenager, he will never look down on the other person because of this. And often talented young people, even if they have high cultivation level, do not have rich practical experience. Therefore, verbal oppression in advance can greatly reduce the opponent's combat power and give yourself more chances of winning. But what he didn't expect was that Zhang Heng not only wasn't nervous, but instead acted so arrogant. In that case, come on. The young man threw away all complicated thoughts and immediately entered a fighting state. The flames of arrogance rose, and the figure rushed out. Under the force of tens of thousands of kilograms, the sword in his hand shot out like lightning, or like a meteorite falling from the sky. It's fast and fierce. The outer disciples who were watching started talking noisily. Where did this talented disciple Zhang Heng come from? How come I haven't heard of him before? I don't know, but judging from his aura, he should be at the 6th level of cultivation. So what about the 6th level? Without cultivation level above the 7th level, entering the duel ring is just looking for abuse. I don't think Zhang Heng's situation is good. Yes, in martial arts practice, in addition to cultivation, martial arts skills are also very important. Luo Guang is at the 7th level of cultivation, and he has mastered the meteor sword technique to a proficient level. A force of 70,000 jins, plus an explosion of 1.5 times, is equivalent to an explosive power of over 100,000 jins. Let alone the 6th level. Even if Zhang Heng has the 7th level of cultivation, his martial arts skills cannot reach the same level as Luo Guang, so Zhang Heng will definitely lose. There are nearly 100,000 outer disciples of the entire Da Luo sect, and when divided into each peak, there are over 10,000 people. This 10,000 people, even if the top 50 in the sect competition are excluded, the remaining strong ones must have at least the 7th level of cultivation to be qualified to compete for the championship. In the arena, whoops. Young Luo Guang's long sword is like a shooting star. Extremely fast speed and fierce momentum. Zhang Heng's body is elegant, but his momentum is violent and fierce. The two men faced each other and charged at each other. Next moment, what shocked Luo Guang was that Zhang Heng did not dodge, and his heavy punch directly collided with the tip of the sword. Chang! The long sword suddenly shattered. Zhang Heng's fist power did not weaken at all, and continued to hit Luo Guang's body. What? Luo Guang's pupils suddenly shrank. An unprecedented sense of crisis surged into his heart, making his scalp numb. But it was too late to escape. Zhang Heng's heavy fist suddenly came down and landed on his chest. Under the majestic force, Luo Guang's chest was sunken, his ribs were broken, and he flew backwards while vomiting blood. Outside the ring, there was silence for a moment. Next moment, a roar of discussion suddenly sounded. How is it possible? Such a powerful body. His fist faced a long sword with an explosive force of nearly 100,000 kilograms, and it didn't even break the skin. What's even more outrageous is that he could completely crush Luo Guang with one punch. What an explosive power it must be. Luo Guang, who has won 3 games in a row, can't even make a move in front of him. He's too strong. On the ring, Luo Guang curled up and lay on the ground, howling feebly. 2 handymen walked up to the ring, carried Luo Guang down, and did a simple cleaning on the way. Next, outer disciple Meng Lingshou, please come on stage. Amidst the commotion, the deacon's voice spread clearly. It's the former champion Meng Lingshou. After being defeated by Pu Xingyu, he practiced quietly for half a month, and he came to challenge again. The mysterious genius Zhang Heng faced off against the former champion Meng Lingshou, tisk tisk. There's something good to watch this time. Meng Lingshou had cultivated at the 8th level before and mastered the phantom swordsmanship at the Dacheng level. Now that he comes back, he will definitely have another breakthrough. Zhang Heng is a strong man with a powerful physique and can easily crush a man with an explosive power of 100,000 kilograms. At this moment, a beautiful girl in a blue dress floated up and landed not far from Zhang Heng. Her skin is like cream, and her eyebrows are like a painting, like a fairy walking out of a painting. At this moment, she looked at Zhang Heng solemnly. She also watched the battle scene just now from beginning to end. She didn't feel that the power he showed in crushing Luo Guang was so outrageous. In battle, strength is not the only thing. Her strength is not bad, her body and sword skills are stronger, and she is good at roaming and fighting. As long as she is not too far ahead of her, she has the confidence to deal with them. However, the opponent's powerful physique made her feel like she couldn't make a move. The strength of 100,000 kilograms cannot even break the skin. So, how much explosive power is needed to defeat it? Then, we can only rely on body skills to maneuver and wait for opportunities to move. Meng Lingshou made up his mind on his tactics, and then unsheathed his long sword. Junior brother Zhang Heng, please. Meng Lingshou clasped her hands in fists. Zhang Heng smiled indifferently and also cupped his hands. Next moment, Meng Lingshou's figure turned into a breeze and began to float away. Chapter 9. Such a cute girl will cry for a long time if she punches her. Everyone in the audience was still talking about it. I think Zhang Heng has a greater chance of winning. Although he has only experienced 1 battle, his powerful physique is almost invincible. Meng Lingshou cannot break it, let alone defeat it. That's not necessarily the case. With Meng Lingshou's great speed, I'm afraid Zhang Heng won't be able to touch her skirt. In a wandering battle, there might be hope of victory. In the arena, Zhang Heng looked at Meng Lingshou's elegant movements and smiled playfully. Wind step. What a coincidence. Zhang Heng also moved like a gust of wind, even faster. The distance was shortened in an instant. What? He is also wind step. And his level is higher than mine. Meng Lingshou's face was full of shock, and her breathing rhythm was even messed up for a moment. At this moment of opportunity, Zhang Heng had already caught up with her. Clenched a fist with his right hand and smashed it out. Meng Lingshou's face changed drastically, her body twisted, and she raised her sword in an attempt to block. Chang. Under the incomparable force, the long sword instantly shattered. Zhang Heng's fist continued to move forward, passing through the chest of Meng Lingshou, who was turning around. An extremely hard touch came from somewhere, making Meng Lingshou's face turn red. Next moment, Zhang Heng instantly stopped his forward momentum, pulled his right arm back, and immediately turned it into an elbow strike, and hit Meng Lingshou again. Such a sudden and rapid body change shocked everyone in the audience. The body method comes from the heart. This is the perfect level of wind step. This is a terrifying genius who suddenly appeared out of nowhere. At the age of 10, his cultivation level is at least 6 levels, his body skills are at a perfect level, his physique is terrifyingly strong, and his boxing power is obviously extremely explosive. With such strength, he will definitely be a super dark horse in the sect competition next month. Meng Lingshou on the stage was even more frightened, and a terrifying sense of crisis flashed through her heart. However, she had no way to escape. I am an 8th level practitioner. I am proficient in Tianluo Palm. How can I not be as explosive as you? Meng Lingshou was unwilling to give up. As an extremely talented person, if she hadn't been too young, she would have been among the top 10 in the sect competition. He has strong talents in both cultivation and martial arts. But now, everything is inferior to that of a peer. How can this be? She angrily mobilized all her energy and blood to meet Zhang Heng's elbow. The moment when palms and elbows strike each other. With a muffled sound, an invisible shock wave spread out in all directions. The Zon level mountain breaking fist upgraded from the perfect level rock breaking fist under Zhang Heng's control. The attack method is no longer limited to fists. Even a temporary elbow attack has nearly 3 times the explosive power bonus. 60,000 kilograms of huge force, 3 times the explosion. The explosive power of a full 180,000 kilograms. The palm that directly crushed Meng Lingshou, and even pushed her palm to continue hitting her head. Bang! A muffled sound. Meng Lingshou's body flew sideways and landed on the ring, unable to get up for a moment. A figure shot toward the ring. Squat down next to Meng Lingshou and feel her breath and pulse. It was the deacon in blue who was originally outside the ring. After discovering that Meng Lingshou was fine, he breathed a sigh of relief. Just an ordinary disciple. If something happens to a genius disciple like Meng Lingshou, he may also suffer the same. He looked at Zhang Heng with a slightly reproachful look, but said nothing. After all, he is obviously a genius, so it's better not to offend him. At this time, around the ring, the onlookers were buzzing with comments. Too strong. Next month, Zhang Heng is definitely capable of competing for the top 10 rankings among the outer disciples. And he is only a teenager. He will definitely be able to rise up in the future and become a core disciple or even a stronger true disciple. I seem to have seen a new star in the sect rising. However, this kid Zhang Heng is too cruel. Even a beauty like Meng Lingshou is willing to deal such a heavy hand. At this time, Meng Lingshou on the ring opened her eyes in confusion and slowly regained consciousness. She first thanked the deacon, then looked at Zhang Heng, who was standing quietly on the side of the ring not far away. However, I saw that his complexion was plain, and his handsome face was full of youthfulness and immaturity, making him look harmless. Damn it, you're so harsh. Meng Lingshou gritted her teeth secretly. Her head is still buzzing. If it weren't for the warrior's powerful physique, the boulder would have been shattered by that blow. In the Deluo sect's cultivation atmosphere, although there were few people who were obsessed with her beauty, no one had ever been so cruel to her in a normal fight. Moreover, the previous punch just missed her high point. Meng Lingshou blushed, sighed secretly, turned around and got off the ring. Next, outer disciple Li Yi, please come on stage. Butler returned to the table outside the ring and shouted again. With 2 crushing battles ahead, the next challengers basically chose to admit defeat on stage. Even after that, no one dared to come on stage to challenge. Zhang Heng looked at the butler outside the ring. Since there is no one to challenge, I declare that Zhang Heng will become the second challenger. You can come here to challenge the challenger Pu Xingyu at noon tomorrow. After Zhang Heng stepped down, others continued to come on stage to challenge. In fact, some people do not necessarily go to the challenger, but just want to increase their combat experience, or show their face in front of everyone and show their strength. After all, in addition to the annual sect competition, the duel arena can be regarded as a major event for the sect. The daily duels attract the attention of many people. After leaving the ring, Zhang Heng returned to his small courtyard to practice. Ellipsis. In a luxurious and spacious palace. On the high platform in the middle, a middle-aged man in black was sitting cross-legged. His breathing was slow and rapid, and the air in the temple was constantly stirring with his breathing. The majestic and terrifying aura lingered around him. Long time. He stopped practicing, and the air gradually calmed down. Come in. He still closed his eyes slightly, seeming to be recuperating, but he spoke leisurely. A middle-aged man pushed open the door, walked to the bottom of the steps with his head lowered, and bowed. Elder son. This is information about Zhang Heng, the son of Zhang Wenjing. Chapter 10. Zhang Heng's information. The middle-aged man in black named Elder Son frowned. Zhang Wenjing's son. That loser. Didn't I say that? The election of the suzerain is about to take place, so I don't need to pay attention to his existence, lest people think I have no courage. The middle-aged man at the foot of the steps still bowed his body and said calmly. His cultivation level has improved very quickly recently, so my subordinates think it is necessary to report it. A month ago, Zhang Heng was bullied by a handyman. More than half a month ago, he was promoted to an outer disciple. This afternoon, in the outer duel arena, he defeated another disciple who had the 8th level of physical realm cultivation and a master level swordsmanship with a crushing force. The wind step of the perfect level, the unknown boxing technique above the dacheng level, a physique that is suspected to be stronger than the bronze statue skill of the perfect level, and the 6th level of cultivation. All of this seems to have been mastered in this half-month. As he spoke, Elder Son's face darkened, a majestic aura came out of his body, and a terrifying coercion enveloped the entire hall. Hee. It seems that this little has the same terrifying talent as Zhang Wenjing. Originally, for Elder Wen's sake, I thought of ignoring his existence. Now it seems that this little can't be kept. Speaking, Elder Son's eyes fell on the middle-aged man and said indifferently. Lisong, find an opportunity to kill him. Remember, don't have anything to do with us, I don't want anyone to get a handle on it. Middle-aged man Lisong responded. Yes. Ellipsis. At noon the next day. Zhang Heng added all the newly acquired potential points to his cultivation, and his energy and blood suddenly surged again. Cultivation. 5,523 60,000. After finishing his meal in the cafeteria, he came to the duel ring. At this time, the duel arena was already crowded with people. When Zhang Heng walked slowly over, someone exclaimed. It's Zhang Heng. Zhang Heng is here. The crowd immediately moved out of the way and watched Zhang Heng step by step towards the waiting area next to the ring. Junior brother Zhang Heng, please wait for a moment. It will take about a quarter of an hour for Pu Xingyu to arrive. The deacon behind the square table said politely. Zhang Heng smiled and nodded. At this time, there were still two people fighting fiercely in the ring, but everyone's focus was no longer on the ring. On the contrary, people kept discussing Zhang Heng, who was standing quietly on the side, and Pu Xingyu, who was about to appear. Pu Xingyu heard that he had broken through to the 9th level of cultivation a few days ago, coupled with the Dacheng Luoyue sword technique. The strength of 90,000 kilograms, plus twice the explosive force, is a full explosion of 180,000 kilograms. Similar to Meng Lingshou, if he hadn't risen in the past year, he would definitely be in the top 50 in the sect competition, and even the top 10. Zhang Heng is equally terrifying. With his powerful physique, perfect footwork, at least a master's boxing skills, and his talent in martial arts, he is probably the best in the entire sect. Unfortunately, my cultivation level is still relatively low, so I am afraid I will not be able to compete with Pu Xingyu head-on. I can only rely on my perfect footwork to roam around and fight against the enemy. Once you choose a head-on collision, you are very likely to be directly defeated by Pu Xingyu, otherwise the winning rate is very high. At this time, Pu Xingyu is here, someone exclaimed. Many people turned their heads immediately, and even the two people fighting on the ring separated instantly, no longer interested in fighting. In the waiting area, Zhang Heng, who was closing his eyes to rest, also opened his eyes and looked in the direction of the approach. I saw a young man with a long sword on his back and a body as strong as a tyrannosaurus approaching slowly. His face is indifferent, and his long hair simply tied back is fluttering in the wind. Even though he looks very ordinary, he still reveals a chic temperament. His eyes scanned for a week and finally landed on Zhang Heng in the waiting area. The two people's eyes met. The majestic fighting spirit suddenly boiled up. Pu Xingyu jumped up. The momentum was violent, like an ancient behemoth, spanning hundreds of meters in an instant and falling to the ring. The two people on the ring hurriedly moved out of the way and jumped down to make room for the upcoming duel. Boom! Pu Xingyu's figure was like a meteorite, crashing into the middle of the ring. The earth cracked, and huge spider web-like cracks spread in all directions. Zhang Heng, come up. I've heard about your achievements, come and have a head-to-head battle with me. Pu Xingyu's rough voice echoed throughout the audience. Everyone's eyes fell on Zhang Heng in the waiting area. A corner of the crowd watching. Meng Lingshou's face was cold and her skirt was fluttering. As an extremely talented person, she has been defeated by two talented teenagers in the past half-month. Now, the duel between these two talented teenagers naturally attracted her great attention. At this time, a burly young man walked not far from her, and a gentle and mellow voice sounded. Lingshou, I heard someone bullied you yesterday. Meng Lingshou frowned and turned to look. She saw an ugly young man with fluttering clothes and long hair hanging down his shoulders, looking at her with concern. Either call me by my full name or get lost. Meng Lingshou said coldly. The word, bullying, made her feel humiliated as she was filled with pride. Besides, the other party mentioned her defeat as soon as they arrived, so it's no wonder she looked so good. The ugly boy's expression changed. He suppressed the anger in his heart and said with a slightly twisted face. No matter what you do to me, I will continue to protect you. Zhang Heng bullied you, I will help you get revenge. This is the declaration of the first person from the outer sect. It's just a duel ring, so what if I become the ring master? In my eyes, it's just a kid playing house. The ugly boy sneered, but did not notice the murderous look in Meng Lingshou's eyes next to him. Waiting for the war zone. Zhang Heng looked calm. After hearing Pu Xingyu's invitation, he also jumped up and landed not far away from him. Originally, I had high hopes for you, but now I'm a little disappointed when I see your performance. Zhang Heng's leisurely voice resounded throughout the audience, immediately silencing the onlookers, and Pu Xingyu's face darkened. Zhang Heng glanced at the large and broken rock slabs centered on Pu Xingyu. Afraid of my perfect level of body skills, I deliberately destroyed the arena in an attempt to affect the performance of my body skills. If you use words again, you want me to give up the advantage of my physical skills and collide with you head-on. You are older than me, have been around for longer than me, and have a higher level of cultivation than me, yet you are still playing such a trick. If your heart is not pure, how can you talk about martial arts? At the end, Zhang Heng shouted in a deep voice. Hearing what Zhang Heng said, the onlookers suddenly looked at Pu Xingyu with strange expressions. Looking at your rough and bold face and your honest face, I wouldn't have expected you to be such a scheming boy. Pu Xingyu's face darkened in the ring, and he was about to speak when Zhang Heng continued. In that case, what if I give you a leg up? Come on, let's see who is harder. As he spoke, the energy and blood in Zhang Heng's body surged, like a dragon's energy and blood covering his whole body, and the flames of energy rose and swayed. Step with your feet. Bump. The gravel flew away under his feet, and Zhang Heng's body shot out. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.